Alright everybody, there are 6 days left until Donkey Kong Bonanza releases, so I am continuing my countdown. Yesterday we did the 7 questions that I have left until the game launches, and today we are talking about 6 enemies from the footage that Nintendo has released so far. Starting from the basic and common to the weird ones that I've caught just a glimpse of in the footage and I want to speculate about. If you like these countdowns and want me to keep going until Donkey Kong Bonanza launches with weird Easter eggs and secrets from everything that we know so far, let me know. So the Goomba of this game are these Crockoids. They are everywhere. They take different forms: snow, concrete, even covered in thorns. They're going to be everywhere. They've always got some sort of hammer to bring down on you. They're pretty easy. You just got to crack them open. If they've got the concrete, you might need the Kong Bonanza or a boom rock to punch them open. But as common as they are, they might have huge story implications because they're obviously crocodiles. Their skeletons inside look a lot like Kremlins, and a lot of lore channels have convinced me that they may be the fossilized Kremlins who may in fact be able to come back to full strength, but we'll just have to see. Until then, we're going to be bashing in the heads of a lot of Crockoids. Up next are what I'm calling the Spheroids. That might be their real name. I'm not entirely sure. They're actually the first enemies you find in the game in the opening mine. They've got gold nuggets inside of them, which you can then use to easily defeat the other ones. And in fact, that's the defining characteristic of these guys. They're always encasing some kind of terrain in them, so their real purpose is to provide that terrain to solve puzzles. In the demo, there was one of these guys that had a boom rock inside of them that I needed to collect a fossil that was encased in a hard substance. So if you see these guys wandering around, look for puzzles that they might be able to help you solve. I wanted to cover just a couple basic enemies, but now I want to get into the rare ones that we've seen just little glimpses of that I'm going to repeat over and over again. And the first one is this guy here, some sort of almost robotic snake-like character that's coming out to try to attack DK as he runs across. They look a little bit like the Wigglers from Odyssey, but they're much more menacing. Here they're just shown as an obstacle to cross, but I'm sure you can actually defeat them as well. This looks like a later layer covered in void goop or lava, and I think this is where we're ratcheting up a little bit of the tension. I don't think this is going to be that hard of a game, at least until the post game or maybe some of the challenge areas, but I think the first time that one of these guys wiggles out and tries to grab me, I'm going to jump out of my seat a little bit. Now here's another enemy we've caught just a tiny little glimpse of. It might be in the same level as that snake guy because it's covered in void goop or lava. We've got a little crab buddy too who's coming for DK in the lower right hand corner, and he looks like he could be a tough one. He looks like he's got a strong outer shell. One of his claws looks like it's void. His angry little beady eyes look like they're coming for us. He even looks like he's shooting out goop from his body as he goes. Maybe he leaves a trail of damaging gunk in his wake. I just like looking at all the different enemy models. Nintendo has struck a good balance. Some of them look pretty menacing, but they also all have these googly eyes that make them look pretty goofy. And some people are even saying is evidence that they're sort of possessed in some way, that they're being manipulated by somebody that might crop up later in the game. Alright, and these guys, I caught just 1 second of them from the ice world, and I'm really intrigued. They look kind of like Crockoids, but they can grow a tower of ice or crystal. They look like they might be a combination of enemy and platforming or environmental challenge or puzzle. And here again you see how goofy these enemies are. They might have sharp teeth, but their eyes look pretty derpy. But the last enemy I want to talk about is far more interesting, what I'm going to call these rainbow fish. They crop up all over this water world that's got a giant watermelon in the center of it. And when you punch them, they get knocked away in an arc of rainbow. And if you grab it, that rainbow terrain can lift you up. And I'm really excited for the environmental puzzles that this is going to lead to. They've really highlighted these strange enemies, including showing how you can chain together the transformations to take advantage of these rainbow bridges. And this level seems to show a lot of vertical challenges, which I think is going to be new at that part of the game, because up until that point, we're going to be able to climb almost everything, but here there's not enough to climb. So I think these rainbow fish are going to be part of really interesting environmental puzzles in this level, and hopefully they crop up in future levels because they look like a lot of fun. And that gets back to what I was talking about with those ice tower Crockoids. I think these enemies will be most memorable when they're not just something for us to punch and collect gold from, but are actually part of platforming challenges and puzzles for us to solve using the weird abilities that Nintendo decides to give them. Well, those are 6 enemies to look forward to once Donkey Kong Bonanza launches next week. There are a bunch of other enemies we already know about and plenty of surprises coming, but those are the ones that caught my eye. If you like these countdowns, let me know and I can keep going. And subscribe so we can continue learning about Donkey Kong together once it launches soon.